Well, Father Murr, you've started us on the upward path up the mountain of spiritual reflection. And I'm going to take the opportunity to throw in something very modern, which is the Great Reset. And that's why my personal feeling, they're trying to get us to forget that reset, to be fully post-Christian, and to take Christ away from the center position in our history and resetting our humanity in a direction towards salvation, towards happiness, toward blessedness. And they're trying to replace that with some type of genetic engineering or computer algorithm. And they're very attractive because they are quite masterful in their persuasive methods in the media. They present very happy and handsome people, and they say, you're going to be happy even if you own nothing. We will provide everything for you. And this is the battle I truly see between the new reset that's being proposed in every way to us and the great reset that was accomplished in Jesus 2,000 years ago.
You're right, and you do well to observe that. The difference between those two, if you will, resets is that one was a reset to freedom, that which was given by Christ. You shall surely be free. This was freedom. This was the reset. You're free. This is magnificent. You're free from guilt. You're free from fear. You're free from death. You're free. And the other one is a reset to slavery. It's resetting everything to become dependent on new invention, on science, if you will, this kind of a science, which is kind of a gruesome science to me, making us all dependent on, I can't even imagine. I don't have the vocabulary to get into what they're talking about. I hear it every once in a while. Quite frankly, it's frightening. But I see that as a reset, but toward a new slavery. I don't see that toward freedom. When you tell me that all of humanity is not going to have to work, we're going to be under the control of a government that's who knows who's going to run that and with what ends, because it doesn't sound like the ends are very good or positive to me. Then what are we existing for? For someone else's entertainment or for someone else's control urges? And what is this? That's a new slavery. That's not a new freedom. Christ is the only one who gives freedom and true freedom. I think that's the difference. They're both resets. I agree with that, Robert. They are that, but toward different ends, completely different.
Yeah. And so this is precisely the method here in our kind of meandering path. We are setting out some boundaries, and we are laying a few cornerstones in the attempt to return to a Christocentric view, which is a view that frees, liberates, blesses, and provides love. And the human person does not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. And the Pope Benedict XVI would often say, and Pope John Paul would say, be not afraid. And Benedict XVI said, look toward that which is above. And Francis himself, in his best moments, has always told us to turn toward the face of Christ. So as we are told to turn away from Christ, forget about him, and turn towards the artificial intelligence, which will be this massive, millions and millions of times stronger than the best computers we have now. So it's going to be quite powerful. Will be the challenge. It'll be, and I say this because I've read things which have made me shiver. And I said, I must stand against this, even though I'm a small person. But this is what I'm called to do. I'm pretty sure after these last days that this is the case now. And what I read the other day was that some conferences, really for 5, 10, even 15 years now, there was a lady who went to one of these conferences as they prepare artificial intelligence, genetic engineering, and she was at a lunch and the guy turns to her and says, you do realize what we are doing here? And she said, what's that? He said, we are building God.
Mm.
So,
Mm.
so there is, and I'm saying I can even understand why, after you've taken a few steps in that direction, why the desire to do that and transcend the weak and fallible human nature that we have could propel them to say, let's bring in 10 billion pieces of information and set that as the algorithm. But it's an endless horizontalism. It never reaches the divine person in eternal blessedness as a proposition for our existence, ontologically raising us from a kind of pilgrimage in time to an eternal encounter, we might say, with another person. And the deepest thing about us is our personhood. But this will be replaced by a kind of consumerist, consumptionist vision of our existence. It will flatten out. Heaven will collapse down into the earth. And they are making great strides. And I'm thinking that you and I are going to have to provide some word of warning about this entire process.
Well, the first word of warning that I would give anybody, including myself and you speaking, is that it will not be successful.